You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're ranking every Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Every time I tap my sword, one of your men will die.
Do you feel this? Do you feel that dark abyss?
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
For this list, we'll be looking at all 5 theatrical features in this Disney franchise, going from the lowest seabed to the highest tide. What's your favorite or least favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Let us know in the comments. Now, as Michael Bolton would say,
boys, let's get to it.
Number 5, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. When On Stranger Tides was announced, a lot of people had the same reaction. Really? A 4th one? Nevertheless, the film made over $1 billion worldwide, proving that there was still significant interest in this franchise. While Captain Jack and Barbossa returned, On Stranger Tides felt like a clean slate with a new director, Rob Marshall, and several new characters. None of the newcomers quite lived up to their potential, though. Penelope Cruz is charismatic as Angelica, although the character and her relationship with Jack feel underdeveloped.
There's no trusting you, love. Besides, this is a well-traveled trade route. You can signal a passing ship. Or you can just bite the proverbial bullet, as it were.
And how will I get free of these bonds?
You broke free of your bonds half an hour ago, waiting for the precise moment to pounce.
Ian McShane as Blackbeard sounds like pitch-perfect casting on paper, but the villain isn't nearly as fun or menacing as he should be.
There I were, resting. And upon a sudden, I hear an ungodly row on deck.
Although Will and Elizabeth are MIA, they're essentially swapped out with 2 cookie-cutter replacements, Philip and Serena.
I seek but one thing.
What is that?
Forgiveness.
The plot gets needlessly complicated as well. You'd think tracking down the Fountain of Youth would be straightforward, but instead of merely drinking from it, the characters also require chalices and a mermaid's tears because, well, they needed a couple of side quests to fill the runtime?
What is the ritual again? Water from the fountain and a mermaid's tear?
And 2 silver chalices, 1 cup with a tear, 1 without.
There is some fun to be had, however, especially whenever Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush reunite.
You.
No.
You. I was here first.
This makes us wish, though, that the whole movie was just Jack and Barbossa tracking down the fountain without the extra baggage. Number 4, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
That was not part of the plan.
Coming out 6 years later, the franchise's 5th installment brought in a pair of new directors, Joachim Rooning and Espen Sandberg. The duo wished to get back to the franchise's roots with a mix of action and comedy, as well as a strong emotional core. And indeed, they do find some success in the swashbuckler set pieces, with the highlights being an inventive bank robbery and an execution escape. But it's the emotional department where the film struggles. Love interests Henry and Karina are essentially replacements for Philip and Serena, who were already replacements for Will and Elizabeth, and are designated to short and even shorter cameos here.
Why are we tied together in the middle of the sea chasing the same treasure?
There's also a twist regarding Karina's relationship with Barbossa that tries to give the film more heart, but it comes off as forced.
Barbossa. My name is Barbossa.
As psyched as we were to see Javier Bardem as the villainous Captain Salazar, the CGI and his delivery never entirely mesh.
Every time I tap my sword, one of your men will die.
Even Depp, who usually does most of the heavy lifting, is kind of just going through the motions. His worn-out drunk routine is really getting old here, so much that Depp received 2 Razzie nominations.
Place your hand on the Bible. I'm a bedwetter.
Although the film is visually interesting and the divided sea climax is a creative one, it felt like the franchise needed to either sail off into the sunset or take things in an entirely new direction going forward. Number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
For certain, you have to be lost to find the places can't be found. Elseways, everyone would know where it was.
While not the franchise's absolute best outing, At World's End is the most epic in scale. The third entry is full of striking imagery, from the crew sailing over a massive waterfall to the climactic battle in the Maelstrom.
The chest Hand it over! I can set you free, mate.
The final act, in particular, has some of the franchise's best moments.
You're a cruel man, Jack Sparrow.
Cruel is a matter of perspective.
Jack duels against Davy Jones, Will and Elizabeth have an impromptu wedding, and although there is a happy resolution, it doesn't come without some sacrifice.
Will you marry me?
I don't think now's the best time!
Now may be the only time!
Granted, to get to these rousing moments, we do have to sit through a fair deal of confusing exposition and straight-up strange scenes that could have been left on the cutting room floor. We would have liked to have seen more of Chow Yun-fat as Sao Fang and Keith Richards as Jack's father. Instead, we get several scenes of Jack talking to himself and licking various objects.
Rock.
Although the film could have been tighter, the thrilling action and satisfying payoffs make up for the meandering moments. At the time, many assumed that this would be the last Pirates movie, and there is a sense of finality to all the character arcs. Occasionally, the story can become a tad too self-serious, but we ultimately feel the gravitas that the filmmakers aim for. Number 2. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Can you condemn an innocent man, a friend, to a lifetime of solitude in your name while you roam free?
Yep, I'm good with it.
Dead Man's Chest is kind of like the franchise's Temple of Doom. Upon release, the critical reviews were mixed, with some feeling the sequel didn't quite live up to its predecessor. The film is far more fun than many critics initially gave it credit, however. In fact, from an action standpoint, this might be the franchise's most impressive entry. Between the escape from a cannibal island, the three-way sword fight for the chest's key, and a spectacular final battle, the film is a rollicking roller coaster that rarely stops to catch a breath. When the film does slow down, though, it takes time for some intriguing character moments, such as Will reuniting with his father.
So I'm to understand what you did was an act of compassion? Yes.
Dead Man's Chest also introduces two of the franchise's most visually astounding creations, the towering Kraken and Bill Nye as Davy Jones.
Do you feel dead?
The latter in particular set a new standard for motion capture villains. The visual effects team even picked up an Academy Award, marking the series' only Oscar win. It may not be as fresh as our inevitable top pick, but the sequel does stand out with a darker tone, balanced out with almost Chaplin-esque comedy. The rum was far from gone.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
When the first Pirates movie got the green light, audiences everywhere assumed that Disney was running out of ideas. We wouldn't know anything about that. The Mouse House had pretty much botched 2 theatrical movies based on theme park attractions, Mission to Mars and The Country Bears. While Pirates of the Caribbean showed more promise, it didn't seem like enough to carry a film. Plus, pirate movies were box office poison, from Cutthroat Island to DreamWorks' Sinbad, which came out the same summer.
Follow that star beyond the horizon. Beyond the horizon.
Although the film was a gamble, it combined several creative minds known for taking risks. Gore Verbinski proved anything but a conventional director, bringing a dark edge and wonderful sense of weirdness to the picture. Johnny Depp's rock star sensibility enlivens Jack Sparrow and scored him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor, as well as a win at SAG.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
It's especially refreshing to see a Disney protagonist who doesn't always follow a moral compass. Disney stepped out of their comfort zone like never before with this one, releasing their first PG-13 rating under their family-friendly banner. These risks paid off with one of the year's biggest blockbusters, surprising many with its imaginative action, sharp comedy, and compelling romance.
About the day we met, do you remember?
How could I forget, Miss Swan?
Well, how many times must I ask you to call me Elizabeth?
What's especially surprising is how much the filmmakers came up with on their own. While there are indeed nods to the ride, the mythology, characters, and story are wholly unique. The franchise has faced a few storms since then, but it's a miracle that this cinematic treasure came out as well as it did.
I feel cold.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.